to look at this from where we have come from, where we are, and where we are headed. So business has been a core element of human existence since time immemorial. And in the beginning, our ancestors and forefathers conducted barter trade. As time went by, currencies were introduced, improving trade tenfold. But even with the improvement and the introduction of money and currencies, then there are still things we could not accomplish. How could one market their goods or services to a large audience? How could one manage the supply chain of their business? I mean, I could probably send a nephew or a niece. They would get mauled by lions or thieves along the way. And I would only hear about this when my customer complains later on, or when news of their demise comes to me. This has been solved by technology, first of all, by easing communication between the parties involved in business. Currently, at the push of a button, you can set up a website to advertise your goods and process your whole business enterprise. Payments can be made virtually, even becoming better through blockchain technology and mobile money payments. You can monitor supply chain through the use of IoT and tracking devices for physical goods, and you can confirm services using blockchain technology as well, so that you only pay for technology that you have consumed. Additionally, data analytics has become a huge part of business and is even growing bigger and better, evident by the huge rush or the huge demand for data engineers, data analysts, and business intelligence engineers. Recently, we have even seen drones automate delivery systems. This has been widespreadly introduced by Amazon, thus reducing the human error aspect of the process, reducing costs, and automating the process. One then can only imagine the future of business through technology, human being. Next, let us look at health. So once again, before the Industrial Revolution, have you ever wondered or looked at the mortality rates or the mortality statistics for simple diseases, communicable, both communicable and non-communicable? Simple diseases such as cholera would most likely lead to death. What's more, a good number of the medical solutions that existed were crude, brute, and often resulted themselves in the loss of lives. Picture a diabetic wound. The solution would be to cut it off. You'd lose a limb. A complication in pregnancy, likely mortal. But with technology, then doctors can perform wonders. Because if you take someone from the 16th century and bring them today, they'll be bamboozled by the capabilities that you have developed. With large databases of medical records available, they can easily identify diseases based on symptoms and vast databases of data available to them from experts shared across the globe. Doctors can administer state-of-the-art medical care services, surgery, precision surgery, scans, and even remedies for these occurrences. Additionally, looking at the future and where we are headed, with wearables, we can quickly or we can actively monitor our vitals. You can get alarms before calamity strikes. If your heart isn't beating at optimum, then probably your Apple Watch is going to notify you before you get up in the morning and drop dead on your way to work. I wonder what patients with pacemakers would use back then. What would happen if your heart couldn't beat properly, or what would you use to improve the timing of your heart? One can only wonder. And with such discoveries, one can only imagine where we are headed. The use of virtual doctor appointments has become widespread in recent months. This has been hastened by the calamity we have had in the recent past, coronavirus, which then necessitated experts to develop simpler ways of people to diagnose and get help from experts, teleconsultation. So actively, then you can be connected to a booth remotely to a doctor, and they are able to diagnose you. You can take your blood pressure and you can take your temperature, and using this information, then a doctor is able to state from the symptoms that they see and give a diagnosis and a prescription afterwards. Thanks to increased internet speeds, even being made better by the onset of 5G, then the solution is going to become widespread. We're going to get this to the grassroots, and we're going to promote access to healthcare, including medical deserts. So these are the places where getting medical help becomes trouble. At the same time, 5G is going to improve precious time for emergencies. As I said, you are able to quickly detect, diagnose, and administer prescriptions for whichever illness might be coming for you. So how do we look at farming and food production related to technology? Previously, the questions that would linger in the mind of a farmer would be, how do I know the pH of soil on my farm is suitable for my crops? How do I quickly detect a sick cow, and how do I know what sickness my cow is suffering from? The vet lives 100 kilometers away. What do I do if this animal falls sick? Do I plant this month because the rains are due? Oh no, I planted, but the rains are delayed, hence the death of whatever I put into the soil. So what a waste. These are all questions that farmers would ask themselves year in, year out, as they strive to improve their craft. But hooray comes technology. With the onset of digital farming, a smile appears on their faces, and farming looks quite easy, even for a born Tao, so to say. You can easily monitor plants and livestock in real time using Internet of Things solutions, allowing you as a farmer to act promptly when needed. Variables, as I mentioned, such as soil pH, can be actively monitored, and educated insight and remedies made readily available through technology. Through automation, large farming enterprises can now ease how they farm and harvest produce. A good example is Netherlands, where huge tracts of land are automated. The tractors wake up in the morning and go to the farm and do their job, come back, pack themselves, are refilled. The only necessity that comes is when service is required for them. Otherwise, you have an army of tractors who wake up in the morning, do their work, and get back home. And all this has been made possibly, incredibly possible by Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. What about jobs? Innovation can often lead to being obsolete, and people are quickly replaced by next generation solutions, therefore creating redundancies and waste of people. Well, this leaves people wondering, is it worth it moving to the future with technology? Or are there job opportunities that are going to arise as technology takes over or aids us in life? But the answer to this is quickly found on your LinkedIn searches and your LinkedIn updates. Thousands of jobs are created every day for expertise, which is going to be used to manage these solutions. Once again, data analysts, artificial intelligence researchers, business intelligence researchers, just to mention a few. These are the kind of jobs we see cropping up every day. Cloud solution engineers, cloud architects who are going to design the next generation networks to enable our Internet of Things and other nodes connected via networks to communicate effectively. So then, I say, the future is bright in terms of jobs. Taking a step back then and looking at education as another aspect where technology has really played a huge role. Traditional classrooms are quickly being replaced by the onset of e-learning platforms. breaking down barriers in the view of walls that were previously a hindrance to getting education. You no longer have to board that plane and travel to that faraway country across counties, countries, and continents to get the quality education that you deserve or that you would like to get. Through online learning, we can now access tons of educative material on the internet in the form of text, audio as we are right here, video if I was to turn on my camera, and virtual reality if I was to put on headsets, or if we were all to put on headsets and sit in a meeting room together, discussing the role of technology in solving current and future problems. This then reduces time and resources that are spent in the pursuit of knowledge and brings together minds of the world, great minds of the world as you have here, through collaboration. What's more, due to the abundance of this quality learning material, then the cost has significantly gone down. Education still is expensive, but there's a huge reduction in the price or in the cost of that same education. Demonstrations such as those that couldn't be afforded by poor schools, say for science demonstrations, can now be done through virtual reality, giving the students a feel of what the real thing is. Therefore, when KCSE comes, you do not get to see a Bunsen burner for the first time in your life and get stuck for 30 minutes wondering, what do I do with this? While those who went to Alliance quickly solve the problems and head for future opportunities. As we look at cyber, the pace at which we're moving to the future is quickly outmatching the pace at which we can secure our systems. The limit of what we can do is the risk of cyber attacks. Companies conduct audits, but this is not enough because script kill is internet. And thanks to artificial intelligence as an emerging and as a robust technology, it is now possible to analyze actively, not having an army of engineers proactively monitoring the network, but then designing efficient AI systems that react by modeling interactions between systems and users. Some companies, for example, offer a behavioral analysis, and based on little tips here and there, then these systems are able to rapidly detect a mishap in the security of our systems, throw alerts, and at the same time react positively to ensure that our systems are safe and perfectly secured for us to use for both ourselves, our children, and the future of humanity. Finally, to look at climate change and energy. Well, going back again, long gone are the days of firewood, you choking mercilessly in a hut somewhere, your eyes filling with smoke and tearing, condemning you to wearing spectacles from a young age for the rest of your life. Other kids see it as cool, but only you can tell the tale of the smoke that you had to endure as you studied under terrible lighting conditions. And as time has passed by or flown by, the drive and focus towards clean energy sources has increased. Smart cities and IoT have come into play, and they have created more efficient buildings, streets, and sources of energy. Intelligent lighting that do not consume that do not have large power consumption, and effective air cooling systems powered by solar. Applications are connected to sensors, and through sensors and actuators, then we are able to respond accordingly to change in environment, hence actively or intelligently regulating temperatures in the office space, at home, or even in industries that consume lots of energy. In cities like Barcelona, then we have sensors that have been installed to monitor city noise, rain, and air quality. And intelligently, then the authorities are able to design solutions and how to make these cities better based on the large tracts of data that they can harvest. At the start of 2020, then several European authorities came together and passed Europe's digital roadmap, or Europe's digital future, that emphasizes on the importance of new technologies and how then do we get these technologies to help us. We do this by ensuring that buildings, machines are equipped with sensors that make them more efficient in their operation, saving energy, because as much as we strive to produce clean energy by employing artificial intelligence and automation, then we need to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And what better way to be guided through these simple yet complex 3 Rs: reduce, reuse, and recycle, but through the use of technology. And finally, as we conclude then, as I said at the beginning, if I could perfectly tackle this, then we all here would be living and applying to the next Fortune 500 companies, applying as digital strategists, business strategists, because we have knowledge of how we're going to use technology to solve our current and our future problems. Mine was to give an insight and hope for a conversation as soon as I end this on how we can best look at our problems, improve on the inefficiencies that we have, and through continuous learning, because there's always the fear or risk of human obsolescence through automation and technology. When you watch Commando or Terminator, then you know the drones are coming for us, the Terminators are coming for us. But I believe that as humans, we are smart enough to make the right choices, to keep learning to become better, and to take advantage of these solutions that we have at hand, and to make the world a better place. And so I believe, or I hope, that in the near future, then I can say hello to a few aliens. And how will I do this? It is technology that will take us to outer space. And let's see if we can prove Einstein wrong and actually get to travel to hyperspace. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to the end of my short talk about our problems, how they have been solved with technology, and the potential of future endeavors through technology and artificial intelligence. Thank you, and thank you very much for listening.
Wow, Paddy. We can all agree that indeed, due to your vast interaction with various domains of technology, you are the right speaker for this topic. Indeed, you have shown to us how technology can be used to solve current and future human problems. And I also believe that all of us are in a position now to provide a question if the answer was technology. Maybe a challenge to all of us is that we can all look around ourselves and identify the problem that we are facing, and from that point we identify how technology can be used to solve the problem that we are going through. I guess that can be a good approach. Let's consider the problem we are facing, then we consider how technology that has been provided to us can be used to solve these problems that we are facing. So at this juncture, I welcome questions or comments from the audience. Yeah, any comments, any question that you have to our speaker? I know the session has been mind-blowing with a lot of ideas. Oh, yeah, Juma, you can go on.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Paddy, for such an insightful session. It was amazing. And now you've been talking of the future, and I'm blessed. I'm left fascinated by just knowing what the future it will be all about. And in terms of technology, we know that technology keeps on evolving each and every day. And also we have a problem of security. And meaning moving forward, there'll also be a problem of security. And in terms of, let's talk of the future, maybe when it reaches a point of interacting with definitely machine learning and AI will be advanced in that stage. We are talking about robots and sophisticated machines that are more intelligent. Do you think security will be a concern? Do you think we can get to a situation whereby the bad guys, the hackers, can manipulate this machine learning and AI to perform bad deeds to the human generation? What's your view on that?
That's a panel question. You'd get probably a freebie at a Google event for that question. So that's a good question, and my answer would be they already are. The bad guys have always been ahead of the good guys because they have always had motive to be bad. Just think about it. How much energy does it take to be disciplined and good vis-a-vis how much energy does it take to be bad and explore your creativity for the wrong purposes? And evidently from the continuous hacks and even from the bias in machine learning models that we have observed, then clearly the bad is ahead of the good, and it is upon the good guys to try and catch up. We haven't gotten to a point where we are proactive and getting ahead of the bad guys. So when you look at robots, there's always the possibility of a mishap. Data that is fed to these machines has bias, and that bias is not fed, how do I put it? One does not feed that bias intentionally. Rather, by observing human interaction over time, then there has always been that bias in human nature. And because these machines are garbage in and garbage out, then there's always that possibility that we are going to face problems in terms of security and even in the execution of machine learning models. I believe the solution then, as AI engineers and as cloud engineers, is to always try to find ways of being proactive to protect against the bad that could happen in technology, to always continuously review, what is it called? To review, reflect, and correct what could go bad. Yeah, but once again, that's a hard question. So that's it.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Paddy. That's well answered.
Okay, all right. Do you have any other question from our audience? Questions,
Hello.
comments? Hello.
This is Martin.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I also want to comment, Paddy, on the great talk. It's really inspiring. And yeah, towards the end, I also like to say hi to the aliens from a close distance. Now, I've just a small thought that I always ask myself, and thankfully there's a small forum here that can help me think through it. As technology is benefiting the human, can I call it community or something, like the whole human evolution? There also comes a small problem of a disparity between people who can access technology and the gap between those who can't. I'd like to know if any of you has a suggestion towards what can we do to bridge this gap, like from the individual level, leave alone like the government or these big entities. That what can we do at the personal level so that some people cannot be left out of technology, because truly it's here to stay and it's beneficial. And clearly some people are going to be left out, and it's going to create that bridge of that.
I'm not sure, but we lost you.
Oh, sorry. I'll text you.
Yeah, if Martin have got you right, Martin is asking, there's a gap between the people who know technology and those who don't know technology. What is the best way of bridging this gap? That's Martin's question.
Wait, that's my question as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so let's start from, and I like how Martin phrases his question in terms of
I have a suggestion on that one.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Awesome.
Okay, so I mean, uh, the gap that is there for technology. There's a time I read somewhere about problems, difference between problems and perceived problems. Like, is there really a gap, or we just assume there's a gap? Like how much of a gap is there? That's what I'm trying to ask. Because now a lot of people who are thought to not be tech savvy, they can withdraw, they can manage their M-Pesa accounts, they can go to the ATM, they can, we also in Kenya we also adopted the digital TV migration in I think 2013, and people moved along with it, and now they are. It's pretty much the normal thing. Nobody even remembers what was happening in 2010 Uko. So I think one thing we need to acknowledge is that people are not that bad when it comes to being tech savvy. Being tech savvy is a bit overrated. I think a lot of people out here have finished Form 4 and they are well educated. So bridging that gap is not really that hard. But also we can work on. We can start by introducing technologies that are close to people's needs, like M-Pesa, and so if you tell somebody, because a lot of people understand how important M-Pesa is to them, it is easy for them to learn that technology and understand how to withdraw, how to send money, and all that thing. So one way of my suggestion would be, if you want to bridge the gap, we try to approach it from the point of trying to solve people's the things people care about using technology, and then from there we can now upgrade them to maybe understanding other things. That would be my suggestion. Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, I see also Mark.
Thank you,
has something
Stefan.
to add on the same. Maybe Mark, can you go on?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for, I guess, the talk that you gave today. And just to kind of give context to that, I think there are two things if you look at tech, right? So number one is, okay, there are two ways to look at tech. One is, are you either a designer or a producer of tech, or are you a consumer of tech, consumption of tech? Now, if you look at it in that perspective, you'll realize that in Africa, yes, there's a percentage of people who maybe lack access to tech or internet and that kind of thing. Maybe a certain percentage, probably 20%, 30%. And yes, we should actually get to them. But also the biggest thing that I'm actually worried about mostly is, are we producers of tech? So I was actually just trying to look up the numbers of TikTok, the number of users in Africa of TikTok. And it's outstanding. It's really huge, right? So Africa, we fall behind in terms of access to internet and tech, but also we are falling much behind in terms of creating tech. So most people are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all these things. Smart TVs in Kenya are like a thing in most households, at least within the urban area. But you realize that the producers of tech, we're still really behind in terms of us creating tech, creating all these things and stuff like that. So that's how I see it. And if you look at especially TikTok, Instagram, and all these other places, we are the biggest consumers of these things, but we are the last people even maintaining it. We don't maintain the code base, right? But essentially, we consume more apps. Like, even if you look at my phone, all the apps that you look at right now, how many have either an engineering hub either in Nigeria or in Kenya or somewhere, right? Or maybe they have a few remote engineers, but mostly all of it is produced either in Asia, India, that is India, China, America, Singapore, and those kind of places. And also, if you look at maybe the map of Google, what is it called, Google Cloud or AWS or Azure, you look at the regions or the data centers that they have, most of them are in other places other than Africa, essentially telling us that we are really missing out on, number one, the jobs, the opportunities of job industry knowledge and that kind of thing. So I think in terms of consumption, we are okay, but I'm super worried about us being able to produce more of the technology itself other than being consumers.
Yeah, I agree with that. Paddy, you also wanted to add on it, or we can go to another question?
No, Mark has done a good job, and so has.
Yeah, I can't wait for the fortnight roundtables to start. I see we have a lot of people who can volunteer to be in the panel because they have great ideas, the great perspective on how we view various things. Thank you, Steve and Mark, in response to that question. Yeah. Okay, see, we still have 6 minutes to go. Is there any other question, any other comment before we go to announcements?
Just to add on from Martin's question, I think also having communities like Resource Cloud Academy can go a great way of bridging this gap, because with this community, you'll definitely influence people who are not aware of maybe, let's say, because IT it's a wide term, let's call this cloud. There are some people who are not aware of cloud, but if they hear of such communities where we meet and share and talk about IT, definitely they will get to know the concept, and in a way we are going to reduce that gap and reduce the illiterate members of the society in terms of IT. So we need to embrace communities such as this one and join as many as possible.
Yeah. That's very true, Juma. Okay. Yeah, I see. For the interest of time, okay, I beg to close the question and answer session. But in case of questions, you can also always reach out via the email I shared in the chat. Always reach out always use that email to reach out. You can post the question. Then when we meet here, we put the question open to the audience. We have various contribution towards it and the various perspectives the way we have done today. Next week, as we are rolling out this new phase on the last quarter of the year, the RCA decided that they will be adding the boot camps. It will be monthly boot camp at the end of every month. So next week being the last week, we'll be having a boot camp, and that boot camp will be for Azure fundamentals. That was depending on the majority of people who are preparing for their Azure exams. So I welcome you people for this boot camp. We try to help each other grow, we share ideas. It'll run from Tuesday to Thursday. Then next month we'll have a bootcamp, and it will be AWS practitioner. Then we'll be alternating depending on our audience, the way they grow. So next week from Tuesday to Thursday, welcome you all for the Microsoft Azure Fundamental Bootcamp. We'll share with you the schedule, how it will be, the time that it will run, the concept that it will be covered during the bootcamp, and many more. Once again, in case of any insights, in case of how better we can do this community in order for us to reach the goal, as we said, it is to create a supportive and a collaborative community that will foster new ideas and innovation for the current generation and for the future generation. So we're always welcome to new ways that we can improve this community. We can make it feel more welcoming, feeling at home, be willing to share knowledge. Yeah, and I beg for us to stop there for today. We meet next week. Yeah, sorry, Juma?
Sorry, I just have one announcement for our new audience. For you to be a member of Resource Cloud Academy, you have to attend 3 consecutive meetings, and after that is when we can acknowledge you as a member of Resource Cloud Academy, and you can start benefiting from the things and activities we carry out, such as the social sharing, such as our physical meetups and all that. So make sure if you're new, if this is your first session, continue attending this session because we have a record that we keep. And soon when you become a member, we'll add you to our WhatsApp group so that you can join the rest of the community and advance in cloud. Otherwise, I'd like to say thank you for this has been a great audience. Thank you, Paddy, for the message. And sorry, I see Wanzala. Yes, Wanzala. Okay, let me finish. As I was saying, thank you. It was amazing having you guys, and I wish you a good evening. And let's continue with this spirit. Yeah, Albert, can you address? I think Wanzala is having his hand raised.
Oh,
so can you?
Yeah, sure. Phineas, are you in a position to unmute?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Getting me. I guess I've been attending meetings, and as James has said, someone should attend, I guess, a consecutive of 3 meetings, of which I have done so. But I guess I haven't been engaged fully by Resource Cloud activity. I've seen some activities going on, but I guess I haven't been engaged. So maybe I can be a member as it has been passed through. Maybe you can consider that.
Yeah. Very, very true. Sorry for that. Okay, we'll reach out to you immediately after this session and we can talk about that. Okay.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, sir.
It's okay. Okay, Sam, I see there's a comment in the chat. Sam is saying that the discussion today has been awesome. That now informs our next steps, especially for my tech team, which is looking at challenging the community with working on relevant solutions to the problems you are facing. Buckle up. Yeah. To that spirit, we keep moving, the spirit of consistency. Yeah, as a community, we can make it. Okay, guys, that was our session today. Have a great evening. Goodbye.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Maze.
Cheers.